A couple weeks ago, we were talking about how the Stars were in, according to Elliot Friedman. I think at this point in time, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, some of these teams were the teams that were interested last year, and there's going to, it's Patty Kane. He's going to drum up some interest, right? And I'm not too surprised with the Rangers situation because in that situation last year, coming off the year before, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, like you get Patrick Kane delivered to your doorstep, you're going to open the door. Like, you're going to do that. I do think it messed up a little bit of things that they had going. And now we see under Laviolette that you're seeing the young guys getting more opportunity. So if you bring in Patty Kane, does that change that? So I'm not surprised Rangers are probably, or Corey and Larry Burke, they're out. Yep. So there's a lot of other options, though, for Patty Kane, I think.
Absolutely. And with the Rangers, I mean, the prospect of him playing with Panarin again last year was really enticing for them. And Panarin doesn't need to play. He can play with anybody. He's having a Hart Trophy type season. He's scored every single game. He's got a point in every game. But there are a number of teams, I think, that could use his services, barring that he's healthy and can be a difference maker. There's teams that need another scoring punch come playoff time. Who did we talk about? We talked about he's been connected to Dallas. He's been connected to, obviously, the Leafs, as we saw, Carolina, Florida. Yeah. In the mix. Obviously, Buffalo.
I think it's tough, though. I think it's a little more difficult the way things fit in than people give credit to.
Sure, you're right.
So
Chemistry is huge.
Patty Kane has said that he wants to go to a contender. And he wants to be a significant piece on that team. My thing is, who you deem a contender probably doesn't have all that much weakness in their top six if you're a contender. And Patty Kane should be playing in your top six. So when you start kind of breaking down some of these teams, it's not as easy as we think. And lots of things can happen in the meantime. There's injuries that happen over the course of a season and different, funks that you go in as far as the way the guys are performing. But it's not so clear cut. I think for me, there's actually only a couple teams that are a good fit for Patty Kane. Although I think he'd help every team. It's just got to be the right fit. And like last year, kind of wasn't the right fit. And certainly he was dinged up too. Like we know this. He wasn't Patty Kane that we're used to. So we'll see where it goes. But it's going to be a grind to find that right fit, I think.
In the playoffs, depth and matchup nightmares are, I think, keys to success and longevity in the playoffs. I think if you can have any line go out against any other line that the team on the road wants to throw out, you're going to have a chance at success. So if he gets slotted in a first or a second line and that takes one of those players down to a third line and that line takes off, well, whatever. Now, it doesn't matter. It makes the team better. If there are a couple of guys on the third line that have shown in the past they can play but haven't really started the way they wanted to, you throw him on that line, it ignites them. I think that is another option, too. Will he play third-line minutes?
That's what I was going to ask.
If he's put on one of the power plays, you'd have to convince him to do that. I think if that's on the table, I think a team like Florida is certainly in the mix. But there's probably two, maybe three teams that sound like perfect.
Real quick, we're going to get to a couple of teams' lines. What was a huge reason that the Pittsburgh Penguins won back-to-back cups in 16 and 17?
That's it. Phil Kessel, third line.
Phil Kessel, third line.
HBK.
That was the HBK line. And they had something nobody else had. So if it doesn't work in top six, can Patrick Kane, is he willing? Can he find that groove into a third-line role? Or maybe even put him top six, will slot somebody else into a third-line role. Now you're cooking with gas. But let's just take a look at some of the teams here, because I don't know. Carolina is the one that jumped to my mind at first. I'm like, I would love to have them there. They always look for that secondary punch. Here's the kicker with this team. That third line, Martinook, Stahl, Teravainen, whether I know last year where there was Foss that was up there, and you're not moving that line. Like, Patrick Kane's not playing on that line, so you look to the top. I don't.
Will he play the left?
Will he play on the left side? I don't know if there's like a great fit there. You're certainly not going to move, you're not going to move some guys down in the top six. I don't love that fit when we look at it. Then you go to the Florida Panthers. Like, B, you like this one, don't you?
So he would be an awesome fit, I think, on the line with Lundell and Luostarinen. And Luostarinen hasn't really found his game, I think. But if he wants to play the right, I think you leave the top two lines alone and you can throw him on the right. If he wants to play the left, I know Evan Rodriguez can move around the lineup. He's done it. He can play center. He's on left right now. He's a right shot. He can play right. He is a Swiss Army knife. He can play anywhere, and he won't complain, and he'll be effective. So you can move Roddy around as well. And I think Cousins going down and playing more of his physical role on a fourth line would be beneficial for the Panthers. I like him down there as well.
Yeah, but then you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. This one I actually think does have some nice options here because I think that there's some moving parts here. You got a lot of players that can play in different parts of the lineup, like Tyler Bertuzzi. But this is the same example you had from last one. Patty Kane is a right wing, left-hand shot right winger, right? The last team we talked about, there was Tkachuk and Reinhart. Reinhart's one of the league leaders.
Yeah,
you're not touching those two, so he's going to have to play his offside. Here's the same thing. You're not moving Marner and Nylander.
No.
Like, those guys are going to stay right there. So Kane would have to go to the left side. And then this where you have some flexibility, whether it's Nyes, Bertuzzi. You can go down. Yarncroke can bounce around on the right side. Like, you can have some options. I think that this could work really well, whatever the trickle-down effect is, with having a third line that can provide something different. You know, it's interesting. But this is the one that I really like. This is the fit that I thought they should have happened last year. This is still the one for me that works. And there's some flexibility here with this group. And this is a group that doesn't lack really anything for me as far as the roster build.
Team. This is your favorite.
They're a complete team, so there's low risk in bringing in Patrick Kane. You're not asking the world of him, but he could provide the world for you, right? Like, these are interesting, intriguing things.
I mean, I think that you leave that top line again, but yeah, there are a number of places he could go in and play, and they have depth, and they play a certain way where I think, like, even that second line has different types of players on it that work together in a certain way. And I played with Dodonov in Florida. I love Dodonov. He's very opportunistic. You can put him anywhere. And he will find a way to create offense. So you bring in Kane to Dallas. Power play's not going for whatever reason sometimes, and Dallas has been known to do that. They've gotten cold. This year they had 4 goals until
the Minnesota game
2 games ago.
Some great
Minnesota.
teams in the mix, though, for the Patrick Kane sweepstakes.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how it unfolds.
Yes, and it seems like Dallas is currently the leader